Well, good morning and welcome to the woodland. This is my first time standing inside a woodland since I think it was the 16th of March, 15th of March. And it's nice to be back. Just listening to the birdsong, dawn chorus, a little bit of car noise, ruining the ambience. Now it's nice to be back, and we have a little bit of mist kicking around. Now, this would not be my sort of preference for a woodland to come to when it's misty, but again, I'm not stretching my wings too far at the moment, and it's just nice to be out in the woodland. And I kind of started to record some footage, and then I thought to myself, I'm just going to enjoy the morning. But then I thought, nah, why not? So, pretty sure this is going to be quite a short vlog, but anyway, we're in the woods. Now, the mist isn't too thick. Well, there's two things that's sort of a negative side in this woodland. One, the mist is not really penetrating too far back in, so I'm staying quite close to the riverbank, where there is still a little bit of sort of mist hanging around. And secondly, we are now second week in June, very green, very verdant. I'd hoped that there would be more cow parsley around, because I think that can add a nice dimension to a scene when it's very green, but not a huge amount of cow parsley, just a lot of ferns and a lot of kind of just green leaves and not very photogenic. So I'm just kind of sticking to the margins here. It's always going to be, it's going to be sort of little sort of abstract scenes that I'm looking at capturing. Now I find I quite liked, first of all, how the reeds were kind of reaching up and touching those leaves, kind of coming down. I really love how the sort of what light there is penetrating through those leaves or illuminating them. And then of course you have a reasonably nice soft diffused background because of that mist, and there is some nice reeds in the background. Now I think I mentioned this in last week's vlog regarding the wide open spaces. Ooh, heron. Very prehistoric looking, aren't they? I mentioned this in last week's vlog, that the big wide open spaces sometimes get you a little bit kind of formulaic, still can't say that word, where you're just kind of almost pointing the camera and shooting, a big wide scene. And of course the more you have in the scene, the more potential there is for error. And this is why I love little intimate woodland scenes like this, because it really does just nicely slow you down. The conditions don't like they're changing too quickly, so you have a little bit of time. And so there were a couple of things that, as I said, drew me out of this. One, those reeds reaching up, the light coming through the leaves on the main tree, and just that nice diffused background. But it's not without its challenges. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to overcome one of those challenges. On the right hand side of the frame, there is one of the branches, and I would love those little twigs to kind of not intersect the far reeds. But no matter where I put the camera, up or down, and I can't really go any further in, one of the branches is always going to be intersecting, so not ideal. But this is why I love little intimate scenes like this, because you give yourself an opportunity just to really study the frame and ask yourself what you think's working and what you think it isn't working. I've also got to be very cautious. Obviously, one of the things that you will often do on a morning like this in a woodland especially, is you're trying to remove that really bright blown out sky. But you've also got to be careful. There's a few spots in the on the river that are extremely bright as well. And unfortunately one of them is in the frame at the moment. So I might see whether or not I can maybe just move myself a little bit rather than zooming in, zooming out. I might just see whether I can move myself a little step or two, because I know I would try to do something with that in post because it is just too bright. And even if I were to crop it, I think I lose a little bit of that tree coming in from the top left hand corner. So I'll go back to seeing whether I can do something with that, and generally just having a wonderful time in the woodland. It's good to be back. So I've moved myself just slightly a bit more to the left, really just now filling the frame with those down hanging branches. And again, just a couple of things to be aware of. Sycamore tree here just on the left hand side, and I really want to make sure that I don't include any of those leaves. I just really want to fill the frame with those down hanging branches of the main tree in the frame. Started to rain a little bit as well, which is actually helping things because it is actually adding a little bit more diffusion to the background, so always a bonus. I think I heard thunder as well. Might have just been my stomach. I don't know about you, but there's nothing I think more relaxing than being in the woodlands, hearing the bird song, and also the pitter patter of rain on the leaves. I think it comes a close second to hearing the pitter patter on the roof of the van. I love that noise as well, especially when the coffee's brewing. So, right, I'm going to carry on seeing whether I can work this particular scene. I might throw the film aspect ratio in there 1:1 as well, just to see whether I can simplify things just that little bit more. So I've come along the bank a little bit now. I actually had walked down this scene about an hour before I started recording, no, 45 minutes or so before I started recording, and I took a handheld shot, and I really should have listened to my instinct and stopped and got the tripod out and slowed myself down, but I was already starting to think that I was going to leave this little woodland and go along the river a little bit, and I'm kind of really sorry I did, because that mist is now really lifted quite significantly. But I came back to this scene because there was just something about it that kind of drew me in. Now, I'm not sure it's working anywhere near as well as it would have been if there had been some of that separation with the morning mist. It really has cleared. There's a little bit on the river, but not a huge amount. And I think the main tree now is just a little bit too dark, but I loved the little slight bend in the tree. I'm trying to kind of work a little bit without getting too much of the path in, just a slight little bend in the path as well, and then those top branches kind of stretching along the top of the frame. Just a nice little simple image that kind of drew my eye in. But yeah, sorry I didn't stop beforehand and get out the tripod. Must try harder, Nigel. Anyway, we'll wander on and see whether there's anything else to be had. So I think that's it for the day. That last scene, I think that's got legs, not in those conditions, but I really liked it. I also, as you would have seen, did a vertical shot of it as well, and there's just something about it. Again, it's about trusting one's instinct. Reminds me of a little story back in Scotland wandering through a woodland, and I ended up with probably one of my favourite images from a woodland that day, but it was only taken on the iPhone because I kind of thought, I'm not sure it works, but I think that's the thing. I think sometimes we can overthink compositions and overthink scenes. If your eye is drawn to something, you know, your brain is telling you something there. So, and that little scene my eye drew me to as I walked past it the first time, and yeah, pretty frustrated with myself that I didn't get the tripod out and set up a proper shot, but hey ho. Anyway, it's been very nice to get back into the woods again. First time in several months. And we have a few little woodlands that are dotted around that, given the fact that we're probably going to be limited in movement over the next several months, I'm already starting to think, right, let's get some recon action done as the conditions start to maybe turn a little bit more towards autumn. But that was nice, I enjoyed that. And I hope you did too. Right, until next time, take care. Bye bye.